Hello, everyone. The Snyder Cut of the Justice League is coming out March 18th. So we thought now is the perfect time to do a rewatch and see how it holds up. If you're new here, I'm Greg.
And I'm Erin.
And we're Fan Dummies. We cover superheroes and science fiction every single week. So hit that little subscribe button, hit that smaller bell button so you don't miss anything. You ready to go, Erin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Erin, do you think that there's people out there that don't know what the Justice League movie is?
Yeah, probably. It's been almost 4 years since it premiered.
We always joke and say the movies that we talk about may have come out before you were born. That's not the case with this one. If you're listening to this show at almost 4 years old, you're a genius and we love you.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what the Justice League movie is about, Erin?
Yeah.
I'm just going to read it because it's easy. I like to read these IMDb intros. Fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater enemy.
Oh, it's just Bruce Wayne and Diana?
I'm guessing.
It's just them two?
That's what I think. I mean, can you believe that that's the description for this movie?
It's pretty bad.
I would read the description of the Snyder Cut, but it's like 16 paragraphs long.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because he just makes everything longer.
It'd be a really,
like
a really good podcast.
No matter what it is, when Snyder gets a hold of it, it's 2 or 3 times longer. You can tell that Joss Whedon didn't write this intro. You know why?
Because it's not funny.
Exactly. There's no like puns.
Oh gosh.
So the real story of this movie, it's essentially the coming together of Batman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg in an attempt to bring Superman back to life to battle Steppenwolf, who is trying to terraform the earth with the mother boxes. Not the mother of all boxes, the mother boxes. Not the mother of all boxes. The mothers of all boxes.
Is it like a motherboard on my computer?
Sort of. It's like, I don't know. Like
it is like a computer.
It's like the mother boxes. Like I just think it's kind of naughty to say. Anyway, they come together to form the Unity in order to terraform the earth to Steppenwolf's desires. Now, why did we rewatch this thing? What do you think, Erin? What was your motivation to rewatch this?
Yes, so we can remember it and we can compare it to the Snyder Cut when we watch it.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time to rewatch it for not only the Snyder Cut coming out, but since then, since 2017, we've had another movie, right?
Yeah, we've gotten Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Right. I think you always want to rewatch these team up movies after the solo movies come out. So we had Wonder Woman 1984, like you said. Mm-hmm. We had the Aquaman movie. Mm-hmm. And when you watch the Justice League again, you know these characters just a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it helps.
Yeah, which is really great. So what was the controversy around this movie? Like, why is there such a thing as a Snyder Cut at all?
Well, Zach Snyder, he got all the way to post-production of creating the Justice League. And in 2017, his daughter died suddenly. And he just couldn't bring himself to keep working on it. I think the stress of the studio trying to make him make changes. And they brought in Whedon before he even left. And Whedon was hired to do some rewrites. And I guess when it was time to go film those, Snyder didn't want to come back. He just wanted to stay home with his family, which makes sense. And I don't think that he could take the pressure of making these changes to the movie he's, so passionate about, and, dealing with family life as well. So he stepped down and they hired Whedon to finish it off like right away. Which, when you look at it, it makes sense because Whedon was responsible for the Avengers movie that did so well. I mean, that thing grossed, 1 point something billion dollars.
Now, we don't know any details other than what's been published, but we went through and looked at all the stuff Snyder said on Twitter and all the interviews that he's been on during the prep for the show.
He's been pretty vocal with his thoughts and his ideas and, where he's taken the movie, which I kind of like that because he seems really into it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be good or bad.
I think Warner Media wanted Avengers just with the DC characters, where it was bright and funny and fast paced with the big fight scene at the end.
Yeah.
And it introduced the characters in a way that they could make more movies with them going forward. Right, to kind of set up the franchise like the Avengers did. Well, what Snyder wanted was a very dark movie about basically the soul of humanity, where Darkseid and Steppenwolf come to crush the world, and Superman's dead and everyone's sad, and they basically have to resurrect him in order to save the world. It's just not Avengers, right? The two are just so different.
Sounds good, though.
I know. I think it's a mistake to try to put the Avengers style movie with anyone else. Like, you can't convert a dark movie into Avengers halfway through.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm really that big of a fan of Zack Snyder, honestly. Like, I wasn't blown away by any of his movies.
Batman vs Superman,
Man of Steel, like, they're all good. They're just not amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm constantly blown away by the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Like, I watch the Marvel movies and I just think, holy crap, Guardians of the Galaxy, not only is it funny, I know that's not Joss Whedon, but not only is it funny, but it's compelling.
Yeah. I think Marvel just does a good job at hiring these different directors for their movies, and they're usually pretty big names.
Yeah. Yeah. Like James Gunn, Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
I don't think you can expect a good movie when you change directors. It doesn't matter who you're changing it from and who you're changing it to. When you read some of the controversy, I read somewhere that Joss filmed an extra 30 something minutes and was responsible for 20 minutes of the cuts from the Snyder Cut. So apparently when he left, Snyder had it whittled down to like 2 hours and 28 minutes or something. Basically, half an hour of that was reshot and then kind of integrated back into the movie to make it 2 hours exactly.
Yeah. It seems like he put a pretty big stamp on it of his own.
I don't know what you expect to do. I mean, he was hired to quote unquote fix the movie. The studio wanted brighter and funnier. And I think he did the best he could. Now, it sounds like the management of Warner Media at the time was pretty tough to deal with because, Zach made comments that they were being tough on him at the same time he was dealing with his family issues.
Yeah. The Justice League was one of the first DC movies in a while that they've made. There wasn't too many before it. And then the Avengers was such a big hit that, of course DC is going to be like, I want that same vibe in my movie, that produced, $1 billion. I want to make that same thing.
Yeah, let's copy what works.
Yeah. But I think fast forward 3.5, 4 years later, I think the whole superhero world and everything that people like is so different. And we've gone through a couple more DC movies that haven't really made that many, but we've gotten a lot of Marvel content since then. I think just like what people like. I mean, think of all the R-rated animations that we've watched for DC Comics, and the theatrical release of the Justice League, it wasn't R-rated.
No.
But now the Snyder Cut is. I think just what people expect nowadays is different than just almost 4 years ago. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure that if Snyder would have released his original cut, if it would have been any better. Because maybe if the studio would have left him alone completely and he would have released his 3-hour movie, which is what he originally sent to them, that they just rejected it. They said it's too long.
Yeah, nowadays it seems like people just want more and more and more.
Yeah, but back then, you know, the studio was probably right. I mean, you put out a 3-hour superhero movie, make it PG-13 for kids or, you know, kids. 3 hours is a long time to bring kids into the theater.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nowadays I think you could do it, but I'm not sure that it would have done any better. I don't love it when the studio gets into the creative process, but on the other hand, I think the directors have to look at the data the studio's telling them. Like, hey, here's how long movies are that perform the best. You know, here's the audiences we're trying to target. You know, here's the people we're trying to reach. You know, director, make a superhero movie that targets these folks, right? Like this is the people we want. We want to target the DC fans. We want to target 13 to 25-year-olds, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think superhero movies are way more popular. I think just superheroes in general are way more popular than they were back then. And even Snyder, he says that the Batman vs Superman movie has a cult following. Like he's proud of this. So I think that if you like Zach Snyder, if you like the feel of his movies, if you like the look of his movies and his storytelling and everything, I think you're going to love this Justice League Snyder Cut. And I think that the way that he made like Batman vs Superman and the Man of Steel, that kind of look has kind of gone forward into the DC movies, if you know it or not. Like like that look and that feel has gone like through Wonder Woman. I think a lot of his production team worked on that. And then when they made this new Wonder Woman 1984 and they went in a totally different direction, I think that's what ruined the DC movies for me. I'm pretty excited about the Snyder Cut. I like the way he shoots his movies and the color grading and everything. I think he puts a lot of thought into it.
Well, we're getting to the point where I think we should start talking about our review of the original theatrical release. And I'll just kind of start by saying that I'm in a different place with my movie appreciation skills than I was in 2017. When I watch movies today, because of what we do here at Fan Dummies, I appreciate things like color grading and storytelling and music and all of these elements of filmmaking that I just didn't understand before. Right. So when I see a cool color grade, I think to myself, wow, like this is art. When before I'd say, like on The Walking Dead, like, why is it grainy? Why is this show so grainy? I'm trying to watch it on 4K. You could probably listen to our previous episodes to hear me complain about that. I don't know. I just think that I'm excited for Snyder to be able to show us his ultimate vision.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most excited about. I want to see him flex his art muscle to the maximum. And then I can say, I like him as an artist or I don't. Because what I've seen so far, I'm just like, eh.
Really? The trailers?
Well, we'll get into the trailer talk in the next segment, but I'm saying the movies of his I've seen before have not been my favorite superhero movies that have been made.
Yeah. One funny part about that is, I thought of when you were just saying that, is this movie, he says it's the movie he wanted to make. But if you think back to Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel, how much say did the studio have in those movies that, you know, they made him change stuff? But this is the movie that he wants to create, and he's doing it with, I think, no one else's input. Yeah. Which I think is awesome. Like, they're just giving him free reign to do whatever he wants, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. He was asked in one of his live streams when he showed the trailer, why did you put the Joker in it? And he got offended and said, I thought you guys wanted to see my cut. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, man, like we'll take your word for it. Yeah. We'll watch it when it comes out.
Yeah.
All right, Erin, tell me, this is now at least the second time we've seen the Justice League, probably more than that, but let's say it's the second time we've watched it. We just watched it yesterday. It's fresh in our minds. What did you think?
I still enjoyed it. I don't know. It's still superheroes. And I do really like the Justice League. I really like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I'm just a basic superhero lover, I guess. There's always a spot for, the basic superheroes for me. And I like The Flash. We watched The Flash on CW. It's not Grant Gustin The Flash, but it's Ezra Miller, and I think he does a great job. And of course, Aquaman, Jason Momoa. I mean, we loved him from Stargate, which is awesome. And Cyborg, and he's a pretty neat character as well. But we don't get much backstory on Cyborg, and the backstory that I think is in the movie is different than the Doom Patrol one. It slightly varies. The Flash, we barely get a backstory on that. And Aquaman, it's just like, oh, well, all of a sudden there's just a guy that wears no shirt that gets in the sea. Like there's no backstory. You don't really know these characters as much as like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman.
Right.
So I think you're losing out on the story a little bit there. And I think the pacing in at least the first half, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like you get a few seconds here, you get a few seconds there, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. That kind of reminded me of like the Star Wars prequels. Like it's just so fast paced. I think if they would have slowed it down and maybe told a little bit more of the story in like full sentences instead of these really quick one-liners, it reminds me of like the old Batman movies. I don't like the one-liners, even though I don't know, somehow Marvel, they do it better. I still don't really like love it, but I think they do. But I think they do it better. But I just want a serious superhero movie with a good story. I mean, I thought it was entertaining. And I think that you do see a lot of Snyder's influence in it. I just think that, Whedon got a hold of it and changed it up a little bit. And it's got to be hard. Like, I wouldn't want to take over someone's movie and finish it when they're not even around to have a say in it. And I mean, I'm an artist myself. I know everybody has a different art style. So it's not like it's easy to recreate someone's art. I mean, people study other people's art all the time and try to recreate it, but it's not the same as like what actually comes out of you as your own art.
Plus, there's subtle things in the movie that mess with your eye. Like Superman in the movie was filmed with a black suit on, but they color corrected the original suit color on him in post-production. So it just looks fake. Like it doesn't look as real because it's not as real.
Yeah.
It's not a suit. It's computer generated clothes on Henry Cavill while he's computer generated flying. So there's little things in there that I think will mess with your eye that won't in the Snyder Cut. But let me just say, this movie had so many flaws, but I was smiling the whole time. I really enjoyed it. Like I loved seeing Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman properly.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Now, people say, oh, she was doing sexy poses and silly stuff like that. I didn't get that at all. I thought she looked awesome. She looked tough. She looked smart. She was witty, was wearing a business suit half the time, and looked better than everybody. I thought that they put Wonder Woman in a great light. I know some people disagree, but everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for Alfred too much. I thought that Alfred typically would play a larger role in Batman's life, and he's also real stodgy, exact, particular, and he just seemed different than other Batman movies or even comic books. The biggest thing that hurt it was obviously the story. They didn't even get to the point until there was only half an hour left in the movie.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a lot of upfront, nothing really happened.
Yeah. It felt like the 50% mark when it was like 85% over. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to being fixed. What I will say is watching Ezra Miller's Flash the second time, he felt more like the Flash.
Yeah.
Right?
I like him.
The first time I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah.
I thought, Grant Gustin's such a better Flash.
Yeah, he's really good.
But when you watch it the second time, it really felt like another Flash movie to me. And I just liked him much better. He was much more charming. His one-liners stuck a little bit more. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt more than I did the last time.
Yeah, he's just a fun guy, I think, in real life. And I think that it comes across more with his one-lines than some of the people that just read them. And it just doesn't seem believable that I think Aquaman or Wonder Woman and Batman would be making funny jokes. But I could see the Flash making the funny jokes.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly right. The other thing is we had an Aquaman movie and we really learned a lot about Aquaman. So seeing the Aquaman movie before Justice League really helps Justice League, because then you don't have to spend a bunch of time on the backstory of Aquaman, which they didn't. But we watched it originally before Aquaman came out. So I think the first time through, we're like, Aquaman, we get nothing from him. Like, he's just like a vagabond that hangs out in a fishing village of 35 people instead of doing what he should be doing, protecting the oceans or whatever. Like, he's literally just hanging out. That's what you think.
Yeah.
But when you watch him in the Aquaman movie and you see all he's gone through in Atlantis and you see his backstory and you know who he is and all that stuff, you can see why he might pop out occasionally at this fishing village to get some free drinks from the people who paint him on the wall.
Yeah, true.
Right? Like, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
I really disliked Steppenwolf. I thought he was just a mediocre villain, and the ending was a letdown. Like, he literally beamed out. I mean, he was like Captain Kirk after all the red shirts died. He's like, oh, better get out of here.
And he can come back, I guess, right?
Yeah, why can't he come back?
The threat's not over.
You just wait a half an hour until the superheroes leave and then come back. You like look around like, are they gone? Are they gone? Did they think I was leaving and just not coming back? Like, I mean, have I given the impression that I just give up this easily?
It's pretty funny.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
The Enterprise is still in orbit.
Yeah.
Could come back down anytime.
Yeah, I think when you have villains and they're a CGI villain, I think they have to do a really good job with the CGI and making it believable. I don't think his CGI on him was all that great.
No. And I expect the Snyder Cut CGI to be at 2021 levels.
Oh, it looks like it.
I expect it. Right? When I watch it now, I give the Justice League the benefit of the doubt. 2017 when it came out, 2016 when it was made.
Yeah.
Right? So I look at it and I go, hey, that's not bad for 4 years ago.
Yeah. I still think that they could have probably did better, but I don't know. I'm not an expert at that stuff at all. So
yeah, I heard one commenter say it looked like a bad PS2 game, which is just not true.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't
that bad.
It wasn't 100%, but maybe like a 75. Like, it just wasn't fully there.
Well, we know Snyder's CGI people are pretty good because in Wonder Woman 1984, they didn't use them. Oh. And it was way worse. Oh, God. It was way worse. Yeah. So we know that they're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for watching, Fan Dummies. We would love to hear from you in the comments. What did you think about the original theatrical release of the Justice League? Do you think the Snyder Cut will be better, or do you love Joss Whedon's, quippy, funny, bright style? Do you prefer Superman in his red and blue suit, or are you excited for the black suited Superman? Let us know in the comments below what you think. We are at Fan Dummies on social media, and we would love to hear from you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.